Now, if a mass deportation begins, let's say next week, it would not be the first time that it's happened in this country.
ABC 7 News reporter Leanne Melendez looks at how previous mass deportations have snared large numbers of U.S. citizens as well.
It was a Saturday night like many others in San Francisco. The nightclubs along Mission Street were busy as usual. The year was 1989.
I was in my 30s, and I've always liked to go to Latino clubs.
Patricia Aguayo was at the popular Club Elegante.
I was sitting at the bar, and all of a sudden, several San Francisco police officers walked in, and ICE. They locked the door and said nobody could leave. Who was to ever think that this was going to turn into a deportation?
Immigration agents did not have a search warrant, but held everyone in place to check their identification.
It was a well-known club. They knew that it was predominantly Latino.
Patricia is a native San Franciscan, and she felt racially profiled.
I was legally here, wanted to let them know that they were not going to just profile people and assume that everybody in that club was undocumented.
Patricia and the ACLU filed a class action lawsuit claiming their constitutional rights were violated. They were detained and questioned simply because they were Latinos. They won.
When I came out of that immigration raid, I was stunned. Just because I look this way, I'm going to be profiled and stopped.
The incident led to an expansion of the city's sanctuary policies, forbidding local law enforcement from cooperating with immigration agents. Immigrant advocates say raids at places where Latinos gather may come back under the Trump administration.
The last time President Trump was in office, 7-Eleven stores and convenience stores were subject to immigration raids in neighborhoods where Latinos were heavily populated, and is designed to frighten and terrify the immigrant community and encourage what's called self-deportation.
The United States has had two previous mass deportations of primarily Mexican immigrants in the last 100 years. The first happened during the Great Depression, when unemployment was high.
This was done through mass arrests by state and local police. People were rounded up who looked Mexican, were put on buses, trains to the U.S.-Mexico border and dumped.
It was called the Mexican repatriation. It's estimated 1 million people of Mexican ancestry were removed from the United States and returned to Mexico, many of them U.S. citizens. Some historians say 2/3 of those forced to leave were U.S.-born children of immigrant parents.
In effect, what occurred was an ethnic cleansing, a removal of people of a particular background.
A second mass deportation happened in the 1950s. It was called Operation Wetback.
A wetback was an epithet used to refer to Mexicans, and it refers to the stereotypical Mexican immigrant who swims the Rio Grande and has a wet back. It's hate speech, it's an epithet, it's an insult.
The U.S. government carried a military-type operation. Immigration officials went to job sites and deported immigrants who were caught there, went to schools and deported immigrants who were caught there. Their family members often didn't know where those people had been sent, what had happened to them.
And just like the mass deportation of the 1930s, many of those deported were U.S. citizens.
They couldn't leave their children in the United States by themselves, so they were forced to take them with them. And this is a deportation campaign that Donald Trump has said he is going to imitate.
On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history.
The Trump administration says its mass deportation will first target those immigrants with criminal records.
Prioritizing the people who pose the most danger and removing those people, that's certainly going to happen, but it doesn't mean that they're going to just turn a blind eye to everybody else.
There's still border patrol. 2 weeks before Trump's inauguration day, immigration agents conducted raids in Kern County. targeting immigrants with criminal records. Cameras show Border Patrol agents descend onto a Bakersfield Chevron gas station. Agents lingered and questioned Latino customers. Children born in the United States with undocumented parents could again be caught in the net.
You better start packing now.
Tom Homan has said that there's no reason why people have to be separated from their families. They can make a choice. It is their choice to either, go home with their entire family or leave the parts of their family that are citizens. Enforcing laws breaks up families all the time. You send somebody to prison, you're breaking up a family. And it's a consequence of what the individual did.
We had citizen children who were in effect deported with their parents and were in effect told, even though you're a citizen, you're not a citizen like white Americans. It had a tremendous impact on the sense of belonging of people of Mexican ancestry, and it lingers to this day.
Leanne Melendez, ABC 7 News.